Welcome to Dwellings, a podcast from the City of San Jose Housing Department, where we talk with experts about ending homelessness, building affordable housing, and exploring housing policies at the city and state level. I'm your host, Allie Rico. On today's episode, I'm joined by Jennifer Loving, CEO of Destination Home, and Lee Clark, Lived Experience Advisory Board Coordinator, to talk about Santa Clara County's community plan to end homelessness. So welcome, Jen and Lee, to the podcast. Thanks again for joining me. Can you both talk a little bit about what Destination Home is?
12 years ago now, through a big effort with the mayor of San Jose at the time, Mayor Reed, and someone on the board of supervisors, Supervisor Don Gage. And they called for a big community-wide, like, blue ribbon commission, you know, like the task forces that we see happen from time to time. And the whole premise of the blue ribbon commission was to shift from managing homelessness to ending it. They said they needed a public-private partnership that would be the vehicle to bring the community together to execute these strategies, and they called it Destination Home. So I joined Destination Home in 2010, and really was feeling like if we were going to move the needle, we had to have a collective effort that was demonstrating the results, that we could end homelessness, that we could prove it to the community, and that we would have the data to kind of back it up. Destination Home at its heart is a public-private partnership that was founded to convene the community around strategies to end and prevent homelessness. And so it's taken on a lot of different forms over the years.
Lee, do you also want to give a little overview of what you do for Destination Home?
Yeah, what I do is I'm the food distribution coordinator, and from my lived experience, I was out there on the street for a while. I was homeless for a while. So I have, I guess you say, inside input or information on that. And I go out 4 times a week to encampments, probably about 8 or 9 encampments, to feed the unhoused, and also I do some outreach into them, trying to get people to get into shelters. A lot of them, for some reason, they don't want to go. Also, report some of the needs back to Destination Home, like offers of supporters housing, like porta potties, dumpsters. They have dumpsters out there now. They're doing a lot more. Porta potties, dumpsters, hand washing stations.
Mm-hmm.
We help with clothes. Some individuals out there really need clothes, tents. We're doing a lot. It's not just me as Destination Home and some other organizations, but of course Destination Home, I can vouch for, is doing a lot to the needs of the unhoused. And so my role is expanding, and that's a good thing because I want to do a little more outreach to be able to reach those out there.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my main things I would like to do is get as many people into shelters until they can get housed as I can, because I think that's a big part of it.
The way that you tackle big crises, big social issues that don't have an owner, water, food, housing, right? There's not like one entity that is controlling everything, right?
Right.
And so the way that has made sense to us, that we started in 2011, and I would say has been the most gratifying strategy that I've ever been a part of, is using something called collective impact. So what that means is there are, in large-scale social issues, there are problems that doesn't have a discrete owner, but it has people that have lots of different entities have responsibility. The city of San Jose has responsibility for homelessness as it relates to camps and people sleeping outside and public safety. But the county has responsibility for homelessness as it relates to healthcare, mental health care, foster care, and so the services side. The Housing Authority has responsibility for homelessness as it relates to its federal mandate, right, from HUD. Mm-hmm. The collective impact model says that everyone agrees. We agree to a set of strategies. We agree to each doing our part. So as an example, think about how we develop housing. You know, the city would have the land, county has Measure A money to pay for the land. The housing authority has operating dollars. Service providers have subject matter expertise. All of that put together creates a working, permanent supportive housing project. It's not any one entity that can pay for all of those pieces.
Yeah.
So as we started rolling out these strategies, we wanted to make sure that we had alignment across the systems. The city of San Jose, the county of Santa Clara, and the housing authority are the main owners of homelessness locally. Them working in concert together has been, I'd say, the biggest sea change that this sector has seen, in decades.
My understanding of the community plan in like a sentence would be that it is a collective group of people from across the city and the county and all the nonprofits that we work with to really tackle our homelessness crisis and get everybody housed. But I would love to have a better understanding of what the community plan is and where the idea for it came from, because I understand that this is the second iteration of that plan.
The plan is an outcropping of the collective impact model that I was describing a little earlier.
Okay.
And back in 2014, we hadn't been practiced in working together. And believe it or not, Allie, the city of San Jose had a 10-year plan to end homelessness, and the county of Santa Clara had a separate 10-year plan to end homelessness. And these were things that were probably mandated by like federal government or something, but y'all each had a plan, and the plans never met up. And they were both coming due, meaning it was like 2015 to 2005 to 2015, or 2003 to 2013. Point was, they were both ending. And so we came up with the 2015 plan. And it was almost like revolutionary. We got every city, the county, everybody to endorse it, which meant everyone agreed to this thing for 5 years. And, we had things in the plan like we want to house 6,000 people. And we need to build supportive housing, but we don't know how to pay for it. So it was a goal, figure out how to fund it. And house veterans, right? And then later, when you look back on 5 years, we've housed over 14,000 people permanently, 95% housing retention. We passed Measure A and Measure E, two ballot measures the county and the city did that is geared towards building housing, supportive housing, and even more importantly, the housing authority, the county, the city, each set policy priorities around building extremely low-income housing. To some cases, some of the most aggressive policies in the nation. The county took responsibility from a contracts perspective, right? Put the outcomes and the goals, the city put the outcomes and the goals of the plan into contracts, and the nonprofits executed, because of course they would, right? But instead of doing all these different things disparately, now we're all moving towards one strategy, one way to measure. So, and part of that, we did things like the cost of homelessness study that told us how much money that we were wasting on homelessness.
Mm-hmm.
It helped us understand who is most in trauma and needs to be housed more quickly. However, homelessness has continued to go up and up and up and up. Why? Why has it gone up and up and up? Because we have not addressed the root causes that are pushing so many people into deep poverty and homelessness, which is disproportionately families of color, which is disproportionately extremely low income households. And so the new plan aims to address not only what we were doing in the last plan, which was house people, build housing and house people, but now it's also the strategy. There's three strategies. One strategy is the root causes. Why are families of color at a disproportionate rate becoming homeless? Why do we have 2 to 3 times as many people becoming homeless every month over every one person that gets out? That's not the failure of the homelessness system. That's the failure of America. Yeah. Gentrification, systemic racism, structural racism, white supremacy, criminal justice, all of these systems that have perpetually not allowed families to build wealth. not allowed families to live in certain parts of town, not allowed education. The things that it's like it all catches up at homelessness. So root causes, really ending and preventing homelessness, right, is a big effort, and especially because of this pandemic now, prevention is center stage.
Yeah.
And then the last strategy is really basic needs and providing a better quality of life for people that are still outside and improving the neighborhood.
What does the Lived Experience Advisory Board do for the community plan? How do you work with everybody else to help develop that plan, Lee?
I gave some input on it as far as since the storage is for the homeless. That is a way to stop a lot of violence, because a lot of people take from other people out there, when they go. And so people having a place to store the homeless having a place to store their belongings could stop a lot of problems, stop a lot of violence, because that's a big problem in the encampments.
The third strategy wouldn't be as robust as it is if without, I would say, both the City of San Jose and the Lived Experience Advisory Board. They were really pushing to include. That's the problem, right? When too many people who don't have lived experience are making decisions, we miss things. One of the things that we have done a bad job of in this sector nationwide is we haven't tried to really lead from lived experience, include the input from people that have expertise. And so we make decisions that don't work for people. And so the storage, that wouldn't have been something I would have put in the plan, but that was something that Lee made sure that we put in the plan. Those are because they understand better the practicalities of what's needed when you're moving around on the street.
For people that have been working on this for a while, it's been obvious for years, but 2020 especially has kind of pulled the wool off of everybody's eyes, is this conversation about racial equity in housing. And can you talk about how racial inequity drives homelessness and how the community plan is hoping to end that or address it?
Every system has been designed to better serve white people, and from the jump. And when you think about how we build housing, what kind of housing we build, when you build at area median income levels that are higher than what minimum wage pays, and who is in minimum wage jobs, who are you building for? Right? The fight of my career has been to pull apart the fact that all affordable housing is not the same. And when we look at what we built for decades and decades, we built at higher levels of area median income than would ever address homelessness and would ever address deepest poverty. So I'm not saying that we don't need 80% AMI, 60% AMI, but because we need all of it, because we've done a terrible job building any of it. But we definitely need 30% AMI. And we definitely build that the least. You can look at national studies. The National Low Income Housing Coalition has done a report called The Gap, and you could look at the shortage of ELI housing in every city in the nation. There's not a city where minimum wage equates a place to live anymore. So any one of it, pick any slice, right? Redlining, wealth building, and it has been designed to hurt Black and brown families. And, it's just the most egregious. I mean, so homelessness is a civil rights issue. Homelessness is a racial justice issue. This is about housing justice. This isn't about charity or helping people or, bootstrapping. There's no bootstrapping. This is about justice, bringing justice to people that we have marginalized and discriminated against forever. So that first strategy is, how do we do that? and because there has never been a conversation, right, about it. 2020 is forcing that conversation. It could not be more important. But the thing about homelessness is this has always been the conversation. There's nothing more important than to bring justice to people that have had justice denied for so long. And homelessness is the manifestation, really, I think, of the absence of all of that. Can we fix all of it in 5 years? I mean, can anyone fix all of it in 5 years? Can we do everything humanly possible? Is this what I'm committed to? Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
I like what Jen said, and the thing that keeps sticking out to me, standing out to me, is hope. That's a really big issue. I was thinking I've done a lot of time, and for me, it's like, certain things come at me, and people of color do more time than other people. And way I got used to it. Going through this time, I get out and same thing. I know I'm going back to the same thing. Again, it goes back to me not having hope, and that's why I really, the word hope really stands out to me.
Can you talk more about the importance of hope and what having hope means?
A lot of people, or I'm gonna say more, they have more hope than we did. As far as change, I know change is gonna come. I don't know. I believe it's like only so much I can do, like systematic discrimination and stuff like that. That's been something that's kept people down, me included. But I feel with help from the system, doors opening from the system, but then again, it boils down to the individual, but so many people are stuck out there hopeless, like the homeless. I can really only speak for myself. I was hopeless. I didn't have hope, so what did I feel? What do I have to lose? I got used to going to jail. I've gone to jail so much since 2015. Last time I got out of prison, I didn't care. I just go to jail. I go back to the street, and I finally, again, something clicked. I finally got tired of life I was living. I got a taste of being housed. I got a taste of that. I got a taste of being clean, living without drugs. That hope started coming more and more alive in me. You know, uh, eating 3 meals a day. You know, exercising my brain, my body. And it, came back alive in me. And I hope that I can inspire and encourage a lot of people to come out of that hopelessness, to inspire them to have hope. Because I see a lot of people out there that I was out there over almost 2 years ago. I was out there on the street with, and they see the change in me. And I hope and pray that they see something in me that'll inspire them to change, that there is hope.
And you see how powerful Lee is and how powerful he's going to keep being. He lived, he knows what it's like to sleep outside. He knows what it's like to lose hope. He knows what it's like to find it again.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what is going to be the hope for so many other people.
How has the field of working to end homelessness, how has that changed since, I guess Lee, I don't know how easy this question will be for you, but how has this changed since you started?
We wanted to prove to people we could house 1,000 people permanently.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how this has evolved, right? The 80s and the 90s, we thought people just needed a shelter bed. They're down on their luck, couple nights in a shelter, they're going to be okay. And so we didn't build any housing that's affordable. Meanwhile, all the other issues that are creating homelessness continue to exacerbate, especially in the Bay Area. And so it really wasn't until like the last 10 years where this idea of like the most obvious thing in the world, which is people need homes. Homeless is the lack of a home. We haven't been able to get enough housing at scale. But that's been the evolution. And so now, in a perfect world, everything leads towards permanency, meaning outreach workers, are making sure people are in the system, are being triaged if they want a shelter bed, right? The goal is working towards permanency. Some people don't need supportive housing. They don't have the kind of health barriers that would preclude them from getting a job, right? And finding their own way. There's a whole subsection of people where that is true, right? People that are disabled, seniors, right? And so we have to pay, their housing has to be subsidized forever. Whole lot of other people are homeless situationally, like Lee, right? Who now getting a job, back on his feet, and all the, you know, all those things, right? But still need an affordable place to stay. And so creating that deepest level of affordability is the bottom line goal, no matter what. It's just the difference is the robust services that some people are going to need and some people are not.
What does success look like for you in 2025?
In 2025, we should be close to executing Measure A. You know, it was a 10-year bond from 2015 or 2016, which means 120 projects are in development. It'll mean that we have addressed the inflow of people coming into homelessness, and we have reduced the amount of people that enter into homelessness, and we have addressed and reduced the disproportionality of people of color entering into homelessness. It will mean that we have added 2,000 more shelter beds, or not just shelter beds, interim housing options, because, you know, the modular homes that San Jose is building, or other hotel motel, the other ways that we're adding. It doesn't have to just be typical shelter, especially now with COVID and the transmission, and you know how congregate is less safe for people. But we'll have done that. I think that I'm hoping that we'll have understood how we're contributing to the disproportionality, and we have changed the systems, or worked to change the systems that are creating the disproportionality. And I think the most important thing for me is we've really agreed to learn to share power with people that have lived expertise, and that every commission, every panel, every board, every staff, every housing department has people who have been homeless in our community working on this issue alongside other people. That's something that's just so long overdue.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Jen on that, is because, like you say, somebody who hasn't been out there, who hasn't been homeless, who hasn't been on the street, they don't really know the depth of it. They don't really know what it's really like out there. You know, one thing about the unhoused task force, they mentioned people staying in places that's not meant to live in, and that, like up in the creek and stuff like that. And that's a very serious issue, you know. And that's one thing I really like about Destination Home. They're reaching out, you know, all kind of ways to help the unhoused. You know, they really inspired me. They accepted me, brought me in, you know, and they give me a job, you know, I feel some important duties, you know, and this is new to me, so it's not all the time easy, but you know, I think the main thing I can do is show up and do what I can, you know, like far as the homeless, you know, I have a lot of input on that because I was out there for a long time.
We want people that are listening to have some sense of what they might be able to do to help. And so what would be one piece of advice you would give to listeners for how to be more involved, how they can make a positive impact and make a difference in their community? Either of you can go first.
I'll let the lady go first.
You know, if you don't want to spend any money on this, a great thing you can do is sign up for our Housing Ready Communities initiative and help us when housing projects are being put forward, because it's astounding the amount of people that want to fight it, right? So don't fight it. Help us end homelessness. How do you do that? Tell your council member that you're fine with it. That's it. That's just it. Just tell them, right? So that's free. and great, and we would love it. And Housing Ready Communities is on our website, and anybody can sign up. I think right now on a smaller scale, so a little bit of money, this pandemic for people that have been outside has rendered the very meager options that people had have been lost, meaning they can't go to a library and charge their cell phone, right? They can't go to congregate food places and get a meal. So people are really hurting extra, right? And so hygiene supplies, gift cards for food, like small ways to support people, bottles of water is as meaningful as ever. And it's why Lee is feeding folks 4 times a week, right? Because all the infrastructure disappeared. And then on the larger scale, we can keep a family from entering into homelessness for about $4,000. It's not really that much money to prevent the entire horrendous catastrophe of a family losing everything and going through kids and everything else, right? Of what that means. It's not that much money. So, those sorts of things are not that expensive and are things that should be priorities, whether it's foundations or giving or anything else. We say we care about education and other stuff. Well, you can't learn when you're on the streets, and you can't learn in your car, right? Yeah. And we have way, way, way too many families trying to learn in the streets and in the car. What about on the human side, Lee? What did you need? What did you need from people when you were out? So, like, I walked by you. What would you have liked me to do?
One thing I really appreciated when people did come out with food, and come through the encampments, that really meant a lot too. That, and sometimes they came through with clothes, blankets, stuff like that. Just basic things a person needs out there. They have now, like we do a lot. We, able to help people with clothing, with shoes. I see some people out there with very dirty. I mean, they just talking about it, but I offer them, you need some clothes, you need some pants, we be able to help on this, pretty small scale, but it's be able to tell. I won't say small scale, but we've been helping a lot in that area.
Thanks so much to Jen and Lee for sharing their time, expertise, and stories with me on today's show. If you'd like to learn more about Destination Home and the work they do in Santa Clara County, you can log on to their website at destinationhomesv.org. Thanks for listening to Dwellings, the City of San Jose Housing Department podcast. Our theme music is Speed City, composed and performed by Attain Charles. Thanks to San Jose Jazz for letting us use your music. If you like the show, please subscribe and share with your friends and family. If you're looking for more ways to get involved with housing and homelessness response, please check out the show notes. You can follow the Housing Department on social media. We're on Twitter and Facebook at SJ City Housing. Our artwork is by Chelsea Palacio. Dwellings is produced by me, Allie Rico, and Jeff Scott of the Housing Department.